Life is all even have to walk, don't even have to drive. Just slide, slippity slide. Just forget about the troubles in your 9 to 5 and just sail on. That's what you do, just sail on. Now the dude's so funky, hey, what do you think? What is it called? It's called a lakeside stank. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. I'm the captain of this vessel. We wanna take you on a cruise all around the land. Music is at hand. We wanna play it for you. You see, we want to be crew of entertainers. Jam to the music, to the beat. Jam, yeah. Don't let nothing restrain you. We just want you to feel nothing but pleasure. Musical pleasure. Yeah, yeah. Our music is very real. Really real. Truly a treasure. A treasure. Musical treasure. Come on.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kitchen Divas session with Chef Carmen, hosted by the Sisters in Motion program at Black Women for Wellness. I am Adia, and I am the program coordinator for the Sisters in Motion program here. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed that extra hour of time that you got last night since daylight savings time kicked in, except for you guys in Arizona and Hawaii. Like that's crazy. That part of the states are, or most of the states are on that one that observe daylight savings, and then there are like 2 states that don't. So that gets a little confusing. I feel like that gets a little confusing at this time of year, especially when you have family all around the states. So yeah, so for those of you who got that extra hour, I hope you really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it because it made me get up earlier since my body is so used to that. It's still used to the time observant before. So I got up a little bright and early, did some work, talked and played with my little cousins while they're visiting me. So that was really wonderful. But for those of you who are just now joining us and this is your first Kitchen Divas program, I want to give you a brief introduction to Kitchen Divas and Black Women for Wellness as a whole. So with Black Women for Wellness, we are a health advocacy nonprofit located in Los Angeles, California. We focus on the health and well-being of Black women and girls, and we do mean the holistic health and well-being of Black women and girls. So that means physical wellness, mental, emotional, nutritional, financial, you name it, we really try to focus on it here at Black Women for Wellness. So with that ties into our Sisters in Motion program here. We try to highlight not only your mental wellness, but we also try to get Black women more active with their physical wellness. And we also try to get Black women to eat more healthy with their nutritional wellness, which is the purpose of this Kitchen Divas program. So today, Chef Carmen will be preparing a vegan aguadito and Peruvian mushroom stew. And I probably said that wrong, and I apologize if I did. Oh, I said it right, thank God. So I'm really excited to see what Chef Carmen has today. So are you ready to take over, Chef Carmen?
Yes, yes, yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here on a beautiful Sunday. And I'm glad that we had that extra hour because I really needed that extra hour to prepare for today. It's been a day and a half already. But yes, we're going to get right into it because we only have an hour and I have 2 dishes for you today. And one of these is called aguadito. You said it perfectly. It is it's a soup, but it's a cilantro-based soup. So if you've ever gone to a Peruvian restaurant, that might be the first thing that they serve you, like as a little taster, and then because we don't do chips and salsa. There are no chips and salsa in Peru, so you're not gonna get chips and salsa. If you go to a Peruvian restaurant, you're gonna get some soup, or you're gonna get some like corn, pop, like thick corn nut kind of corn. So if you haven't had a chance to go support your local Peruvian restaurant, find the closest ones to you, since you can't really come over to my house. Otherwise, I would feed you. But so we're gonna just start with the soup because a soup for it to be really good, it needs to simmer for a little bit, and it's perfect soup weather today. So If you want to make this later, it takes about 20 minutes. And it's really good. And it has a couple of secret ingredients, especially because, we tend to think chicken soup is good for, for you. But when you're plant-based, or when you're plant-based forward, or when you just don't want to, when you want to do meatless Monday, right? So what do you do instead? So mushrooms actually have a lot of vitamins and, things that penicillin is actually was created from a mushroom, right? So it's one of these things where you gotta kind of substitute some of the ingredients. And I wanted to create two dishes that were kind of similar, because sometimes when we go to the store, we get like a bunch of carrots, right? We get a bunch of carrots, and you like half of them you might have to throw out later. So I like cooking things with the same ingredients, because it's kind of eating something different, but not really, because it's kind of the same ingredients, just prepared a different way. And so this is gonna, a lot of it is gonna have the half of the same ingredients. But I already have one of my carrots peeled. I started peeling it right when we started. The other one I'm gonna peel, I have this peeler which I fought my husband. I didn't want it. I was just like, I can just do it with the knife. But it's so easy. If you have a peeler, it's really easy to get these perfect noodles out of this carrot, right? And so what you can do actually, if you are, really looking into food waste and how you can minimize that too, you can say these are carrot noodles. And you can actually make it, put them into your noodles when you eat noodles, when you make pad thai or Asian flavored dishes, or when you can blend it, you can add it to your muffins. You can really like, there's like very little waste. This is basically the waste that I would be maybe, composting. So if you're trying to do that, like any little bit helps, right? And so I'm probably gonna make muffins with this. Not that I said muffins, I just now want muffins. So I'm gonna save it over here. And then the carrots, we're gonna use one for the soup and one for the stew. So I'm gonna take the smaller one, and it's just this. You can probably skip this step if you're not used to, or if you don't have carrots. There's always the frozen section. I am not against the frozen section. There's some vegetables and fruits that are very very well kept in the frozen section, especially carrots, peas, that stuff that we normally only use every once in a while, or a little bit, like a quarter cup, right? And so it's best to maybe use frozen. If you want it fresh, then the second option is to get it fresh. And then the carrots, for example, if you don't eat them quickly, they will rot. They will, there's not a real great way to keep carrots, because they will lose their firmness. They will lose, they get kind of soggy a little bit very, very quickly. So, oh, I didn't realize you couldn't see what I was doing. There we go. Okay, so what we want to do with these carrots then is make your own mix of peas and carrots, and then freeze them up, or just have the carrots ready to go, or shred them, or make carrot juice, or add them to your juice in the morning, to your smoothies. There's so many ways so that your food does not go to waste. So sometimes we just have to plan a little bit. So here's my small carrot, and this is for my soup. And so what I'm going to do now for this, now that this is done, because this does take a little bit of extra time, I'm going to put this over here. But I did want to mention the noodle, the carrot noodle. So how I make it, it's really, I forgot to grab the little lighter thing. And it's not where it's supposed to be, because it's on the other way. Okay, so let's lock that in here and then turn it on. Perfect. I'm glad that you can see it now. This right here is for our soup. And what I love with my soups is, and the secret ingredient that's going to give it a little bit of a wholeness, a whole flavor to it, is basically the garlic. But I'm going to roast the garlic first before I add anything to my soup. I'm going to roast this garlic. I'm going to get 2 of these. And I'm going to get the ends out. I always like to give it a little whack really fast, and that way it peels faster. And there we go. Now we got fresh garlic. Garlic is one of these things I really love fresh. you know, or as fresh as you can. Powder is okay too, but I love fresh personally. So where is my, oh, I think
Wait,
my
so how did
husband
you
must
peel
have,
it faster?
oh, I just gave it a little whack. I will show you in a second. Oh, here it is. I think my husband and kids are pulling a trick on me. They've changed things around today. Okay, so for the garlic, all I gotta do is cut the end right here, like the end that has the little root attached to it or where it comes from. And then you just give it a little whack, and then you just peel it right off like that.
Wow, I've been
That's easy
struggling
to
with
do.
garlic for so long.
Yeah, just you're gonna crush this anyway, right? Unless you're gonna eat a whole, like even if you eat a whole, because I do make like garlic oil, you know, something like that. So then you can just like drop it in and the flavor will actually still come out. So I'm gonna put some oil in the pan here. And it's about just about a couple, you know, probably a little more, a couple tablespoons, because that is all gonna flow into the in the soup. And you want this fat. This is good fat. Avocado oil is good fat. And then we are going to put the garlic in there. I'm gonna just freshly squeezed garlic. I forget that I have to move this over here. Perfect. There we go. Okay. Can you hear it? Oh my God. Can you guys hear that? You can probably hear, but not smell it, huh? But you all know what garlic smells like. And anytime that I make anything, I start cooking like this, it's garlic, right? And then immediately the kids are there like, Mommy, what are you cooking? Right? What are you making? So we don't want this to burn. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of roast it really little bit first, and then I'm actually gonna add oregano. This is oregano. Just like just a little bit of oregano, like half a teaspoon of oregano. And then we're gonna kind of fry it right up with the garlic there. And that's gonna make it like a garlic oregano oil, right? It's gonna get all infused a little bit. And it's gonna be a little bit of, like oregano is a little bitter for the soup, but it gives it all this really different, it's a different taste. The other thing that I like to add is a little bit, since we're doing it, you know, more on the plant-based, for plant-based eaters, we're gonna add a little turmeric, just because turmeric, and it's not on my original recipe, but it doesn't hurt to add it. It never hurts. I love turmeric because it is kind of considered a superfood, right? It's considered to garlic and turmeric are, they fight inflammation, but the best thing to fight inflammation is to not consume inflammatory foods. There is no amount of turmeric that you can consume that will do what not consuming inflammatory foods will do for you. So I'm also adding a little bit of smoked paprika, because smoked paprika gives it like a bacony, like smoky taste. So it's just a little bit. So all of these flavors are going to be in here. And if, when you taste the soup, it's going to be really good. Now, the secret ingredient that I was talking about is this Peruvian paste, Peruvian pepper. And this basically goes in everything that I cook, even Mexican food, you guys. I started adding it. I know it's Peruvian pepper, but the Peruvian pepper has, let me get a spoon. It has this spice that's not spicy. Like, okay, jalapeno. Let me describe it like this. Jalapeno, you eat it, and then like your mouth is on fire, right? And then, but you can't stop eating it because you like it, because the flavor is good. This is like a little bit like that. You taste it, and but it's the opposite. Instead of getting hotter, it kind of goes away. So then it leaves you with wanting more because you want the spice and it tastes good, but it doesn't like make your mouth like burn. Like after a while, you have to stop eating jalapeno stuff, right? Because then you're just like, it's just like burning. So this one, and this you can find in any Latino market or any market sometimes. And I found it at Gonzalez Market. So it's everywhere. And then of course, a little bit of salt. And so I'm gonna put this aside because what I'm gonna show you now is how we're gonna get this not to burn. is to add the cilantro. So the cilantro is going to be pureed. And this is a great way to use all your cilantro stems too. If you keep your cilantro stems, put them in there. And we're going to add some water. And we're going to blend it. And in the meantime, I'm going to check the chat. So I'm going to mute myself so I don't make you deaf with the blender, but I'll check the chat while this is blending.
And if you guys have any questions while Chef Carmen prepares this, just feel free to shout out your questions or type them in the chat. And Chef Carmen and I will keep monitoring the chat, or I will do most of the monitoring so Chef Carmen can focus on the meal. But yeah, I'll ask any questions that you guys have. And the same thing goes for you guys on Facebook. If you have any questions, just feel free to comment them in the Facebook chat, in the Facebook comment section.
Yes, questions are welcome about the recipe or anything really related health and wellness. I've been doing this for a long time. And the things that I say sometimes go against what you've heard most of your life, or maybe, for the younger ones is, what we hear about health and wellness is eating moderation. It's like eating in moderation to me is like nails in the chalkboard. And because I did it, I moderated myself with food so much that I was eating very, very little of things that were making me sick every single day. So that's kind of the things, for example, that I say to nobody, like it's an unpopular opinion that in moderation is not the way to go. So I'll tell you what is the way to go after I add this before this burns. So this is all the garlic and the spices and the salt and the secret ingredient, right? And then we're gonna add the cilantro. It's blended, it's like cilantro juice. And you just add that in there. And that's gonna be like basically the base. Oh, and it smells so good. My husband loves this soup. I told him I was making aguadito today, and he was like, yes. So he knows he's gonna come home and eat it. He's not home enough. He's helping my mom do something, but otherwise he'd be here probably like knocking on the door, like, is it ready yet? Okay, so now we have this, and we're gonna add the rice. So because the soup has rice instead of noodles. And so we're gonna add some rice. You can use brown or white, depending on, what you like, what your family likes. I found out that white rice makes me very sleepy. So I don't eat it as often, but I do like it in my soup because I usually go to sleep after anyway. So I added the rice, and it's not gonna cook into rice. It's gonna cook in the soup. So does that make sense? Yes. So now we're gonna leave this here. And my mom taught me to get the blender and to really get everything you can out of here, right? Look, we were leaving all this green juice in there. So make sure you get all of this stuff in there. Perfect. Okay. So we're gonna let this cook for a little bit. And it's really, really simple. After 20 minutes, we're going to actually add the carrots that I diced, and we're going to add a couple of other things. So I'll let it cook on this side here while I continue to cook the stew on this side. This might not be the best. Let me get a different pan. That is not the best pan for a stew. Okay, that's a better one. The stew, you can also make it in the crock pot because, that's easy, right? You dice up everything the day before, and then the day off, you put it in the crock pot. So let's do that.
Hi, Chef
Now
Carmen. Someone asked
yes
about the brand of Aji Amarillo paste you use.
Oh, well, this one, I honestly, the one that calls you, the one that called me for this time, it was called Amazonas. So, but I know that there's a couple of other brands too, and they're all pretty much the same. They all kind of taste the same. I like this one. This one looked a little thicker to me, so like a little thicker means less water and more paste, less stuff that I think, the ingredients were just like amarillo and some, it has to have preservative. I am very lucky. I actually have a plant, and Here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to take you today. I'm going to take you to where they grow. So don't mind the mess. My kids were out here. But this is Aji Amarillo. Oy, there we go. Almost. I dropped you. Sorry about that. But this is Aji Amarillo. It basically grows like a jalapeno, right? But it's orange, and it's actually orange, and amarillo means yellow. So I don't know the name. I don't know why they don't call it orange pepper, but that's what it is. So Aji Amarillo, meet Kitchen Divas, Aji Amarillo. Nice to meet you. So that's that's how it grows. And my dad actually gave me that plant. It didn't have any peppers in it, but he has a really great green thumb and taught me a couple things to do. So yeah, so that's how it grows. Oh, there we go. I just gotta put you back in place. Are we back in place? Let's start chopping the onion. Yes, perfect. Okay, so we had a field trip today. I'm gonna use an onion, and I like using red onions because they have more flavor to me. I don't know. I mean, there's sweet onions too, but in the stew situation, I like their onion, so the flavor comes a little bit more, comes through. If you don't like onions, then like I really don't love onions, but I do love them when I don't see them. So you just chop them really, really finely. And chop them one way. They look like rainbows. And then I go around the other way and get them super small. Like this is also, a red onion is a really great substitute if your recipe calls for shallots. If your recipe calls for shallots and you don't have any shallots, then mixing a quarter of a red onion in with a little bit of white onion will give you that mild shallot taste. Because a shallot is basically, taste-wise anyway, kind of like in between a white and a red, right? It looks like a red, but really small, but it doesn't taste as strong as a red, tastes more like a white. So that's what it is. Okay, so we're gonna chop these really, 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 really. The reason why I'm chopping them really small is because I don't like to see them in, I don't like I like onions, but I don't like, if there's like a big chunk of onion and like my salsa or something, I just have to get it out of there. Like, nope, but I love the onion flavor. Okay. Any other questions of while I chop this here?
No questions in the chat, but people enjoyed seeing your garden.
Yes. So then we have some tomatoes, we have some lavender, we have some basil. The one thing I can't get to stick is the cilantro. I have no idea. I have two Peruvian things that are, that I like growing, because if I go to the store, I'm not gonna like get it right. Like Aji Amarillo is kind of one of those hard things. Or the other one is, it's kind of like a cilantro, but it's called guacatay. And I just grow it because I know I'm not gonna find it anywhere. So yes, I'm sure everyone, gardening is one of those things that you learn to appreciate once you do it. And it takes a lot of, time and effort, but the result is great. And then you learn that life is just like that. Some things take a lot of time and effort, but the reward is really great. So we're gonna get the stew started in a minute here. I wanna make sure that everything is chopped. So I'm gonna, I grabbed the wrong board. That's okay. This is a smaller board. I know it's red. Red is usually meant for meats, but this is the smallest one I have. So we have the onions and the garlic in the pan already. There we go. I haven't turned it on yet because I want to make sure I have everything ready to go, because it is a quick stews are really quick. Once you have everything chopped, it's easy. I think the longest thing about cooking is the chopping, right? If everything is chopped and prepped, it usually takes not even 10 minutes sometimes, but the chopping is what takes a long time.
And this is for the mushroom stew right now, right?
This is for the mushroom stew, yes. For this stew, normally traditionally the soup, like I said, has chicken in it. And traditionally the stews, you can actually add some, beef or any, if you're a meat eater. But what I found is that mushrooms take over, like take the texture from the chicken, especially if you have there's a couple mushrooms. Once you find your favorite, stick to those. But there's so many mushrooms that you can use. I like to use a variety of mushrooms, but today I'm just going to use this one to make it simpler. But the more mushrooms you have in that stew, the better, because it gives you a variety of textures and flavors. And that's all food really is. We want to make sure you have different textures and flavors. So the potatoes and the carrots are going to do that for you. And then if you want to serve the stew with some rice, that will do it too. So here the potatoes are going to go first, then the mushrooms. So the potatoes, I just bought 2 potatoes. These are the regular Yukon ones. I wash them really well, and I'm not going to peel them because it does add fiber. The peel has fiber in it, so flavor, and it gives it texture, right? So I'm just gonna dice these potatoes real quickly. You know, there's like over 4,000 kinds of potatoes, and we only have like 3 at the store, right? So there's so many different kinds. There's one kind like French fries. That's the only thing we know sometimes, but there's really over 4,000 kinds. So to dice these potatoes, I just cut them up like French fries first, and then just go the other way. Now I'm running out of room.
Can you tilt your camera down a little?
Yes, thank you. There we go. Nope.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. There we go. I have to put it back a little bit more. There it is. Okay. We're having a little bit of technical problems today. Must be the time change. Throwing me off today. Okay. Yeah, so it's just this potatoes. So I'm gonna get this started so that we can start adding things in here because I'm running out of room on this board. There we go. Okay, so I didn't add the oil in here, but you add some oil with the garlic and onions. And again, it's gonna smell so good. It's gonna smell so good. And I did forget to grab the cumin from here. There we go. Oh, you can hear it. You can hear it now. Now I have to move this too. Hold on. There we go. Okay, now back to normal. Back to place. The filter take my spacing off a little bit. Okay, and now we have the garlic and the onions. It's just the smelling so good. You can again add a little bit of smoked paprika. Anytime that if you're trying to go more plant-based, but you're missing that flavor of meat, smoked paprika will give it that smell and that taste. So add a little bit of it, not too much. And we're of course gonna add some Aji Amarillo here because that, like I said, that goes on everything. It's like that Frank's Red hot sauce that I keep seeing. Like put it on everything. That goes on everything. Just don't breathe right over the smoke because then it'll get spicy. And then a little bit of this. I know why it's not working. Because I forgot the tomato. It's just looking at me there. I'm like, why is it smoking up? It shouldn't be smoking up. Tomato is what we add in with the onions to make it a little juicy. So let me just do that real quickly over here. So this tomato is basically a lot of, I don't know if you guys know or eat a lot of Indian food, but a lot of Indian food and Peruvian food start the very same way. The very same way. Tomatoes, onions, cumin, right? So there we go. That's better. Okay. I was wondering why it was drying up. Makes perfect sense now. So here's the tomato. And because I didn't add it in time, I'm gonna add a little bit of water here. There we go. Okay, back on track. And now it's looking more like it should be looking, like a sauce. So it's more like a stewy sauce, right? So the basis of this, again, I apologize for my forgetting the tomato, but there we go. It's garlic, then onions, then the spices and the cumin and the smoked paprika if you'd like, the secret ingredient, and then of course the tomatoes. Okay, so now that's that. I don't think I added salt, so I'm gonna add some salt. Now, always when you deal with salt, just put in a little bit less than you think you're gonna need, because you can always add more, right? You can always add more, but if you over salt something, then it's really hard to come back from that one. So better to add a little bit less. And then this is gonna
Someone
be
asked
mixed
about.
in.
Oh, sorry.
What was that?
Somebody asked about the spice that you added before the tomatoes and cumin. Cumin?
It's this tomatoes and cumin.
Did you add any other spices to it?
It's the same. I think it was this one, the smoked paprika. I only added these two spices today for this.
Okay.
But the smoked paprika is the one that kind of, if you're trying to go more plant-based, is the one that will help you because it has that smoky, like beefy flavor, right? And the mushrooms will actually, that's why I like the mushrooms too, because the mushrooms are basically little sponges that are going to like absorb all this flavor. So if you add that, the Peruvian spice, if you add the smoked paprika, then they will absorb it. It'll taste like a smoky meat, you know? So you can actually I make bacon with mushrooms too, and or jerky if you have, you know, if you buy the big mushrooms, and you can make it look like jerky also. But it's just that. Okay, and so now we actually add the carrots that I forgot here. Carrots and potatoes are gonna cook about the same. They're, you know, raw, but they only need about 20 minutes when they're diced this small. That's why I like dicing them smaller, because they cook faster. The bigger the chunks, the longer the time of you have to cook them. So you can do big chunks or small. You can do round. I usually do them round, but today I'm gonna do this like this. There we go. Okay. And if you're in a rush and you need to do this in the crock pot, then this is gonna be, it's just a couple hours in the crock pot. But it does give it that, like the more time it's in it's cooking, it's better. Just like a soup. So soups and stews are really big during this time of year. You know, they're like very comforting. Potatoes are always comforting, right? And for us, this is more, I should have titled it like Peruvian comfort food, because that's what it really is, Peruvian comfort food. Okay, and so now this is gonna cook. I'm gonna bring our soup back. So I've gotta do this switch so you can see the soup. The soup has been cooking for a little bit, so we actually need to add the rest of the water now. I'm gonna add the lot, and I'm gonna add the carrots that I had chopped earlier. I'm gonna add the tomato guts in there because that'll change the flavor, but there we go. Yep, really good. Okay. And this also has peas and corn, a little bit of corn. So I buy the frozen corn. Again, this is a great way to keep things that you only need a little bit of sometimes. Like for this soup, I bought like the organic corn, and I'm just gonna add about a quarter cup, half a cup. If you really like corn, that's good. And then of course the peas also. And the one thing that I really like it, but I don't know if it's any official Peruvian any official Peruvian recipe books, is a little bit of bell pepper. So I'm gonna cut a quarter of that. And then just julienne it, which means just very, very fine, long strips of red bell pepper. And I actually add that in my soup here. And it gives it a really great taste. I'm gonna grab this so we can grab some of the things so you can see. So, okay, there's also, if you don't want the soup, there's also a Peruvian dish when it's just the green rice and it has all those ingredients. This just has more water, right? Okay.
I should have ate
just
before
let
you
this
did this
boil a little
demonstration.
bit.
Now I'm so hungry.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That always happens to me too. When I didn't eat, and then I just don't go to the grocery store then when you're hungry, because that's not gonna
yes, I learned that
help
in
you
college.
at all. There.
I buy the weirdest things if I go to the grocery store hungry.
Yeah, no, don't go to the grocery store hungry. Stick to the outside. This is when I used to teach. I used to teach for the American Heart Association. There was a class called Eating on a Budget, and that was one of the things. Plant-based eating, of course, is going to keep you a budget, and don't go hungry. Make a list and stick to the outside of the store. The inside of the store doesn't have anything really that I'm going to say that you need. There's nothing inside the store except maybe the spices, but nothing really that you absolutely need. So, okay, so these are cooking. This is cooking. And then we just wait a little bit, because that's what soups and stews do. You just stand around and wait. So moderation, here it is. That's what I was saving for you. Why do I like to eat in moderation? Because this is very healthy. All the stuff in here that is nourishing, right? If my body's still hungry after one bowl, I'm gonna eat another bowl without feeling guilty. And if I want a third bowl, very rarely do I want a third bowl, because my body is already nourished, right? The thing about moderation is that if you're malnourished, there's no such thing as moderation, because your body's constantly gonna want to have nutrition. And if you're not giving it any nutrition, it's like it's always hungry. It always wants something. It always needs something. So the other thing about moderation, I can't believe I'm saying it so many times today, is that I was very, very sick when I started my journey towards a more plant-based life, towards more healthier, holistic life, which is exactly what I do, a healthy living. Thanks, Melanie. So it's just, let's see. It's just that I was eating the wrong things because nobody told me what the right things were. I thought, honestly, that my half sandwich, my, on wheat bread, my, what else was my yogurt in the morning, because I would have 100-calorie yogurt in the morning because I was 2 points, you guys. Okay. I did all the diets. I did all of the things, the counting, the weighing, the everything. But my body is lactose intolerant and is gluten intolerant. So even though I was consuming those calories mean nothing to me. I don't even look at the nutrition facts on that package, honestly. These are the unpopular opinions that I was talking about, right? But if that worked, we'd have a lot more healthy people than unhealthy people. We had a lot more success stories than frustrating stories. We've had a lot more, I don't know, we've just had a lot more of the opposite of what we have now. People constantly looking for health and they can't find it. And it is all in your foods and the ingredients, where it comes from. Is it organic? Yes, it's all about money. It's all about money. Who's getting money for the products you're buying? The big companies. And who is getting money when you get sick, right? And then you work so hard your whole life. And when you retire, all that check is going to go to pay for your health bills, because most people work so hard eating the wrong things, that they end up having to use their life and money to pay for that, you know, when they come of retiring age, they still can't retire, or they have now an incredible amount of bills from a sickness that came from when they started when they were younger, because it doesn't happen overnight. Nothing happens overnight. Nothing. It's a series of decisions, a series of bites that you take throughout your life that get you to where you are. My dad had 2 heart attacks because he didn't learn from the first one, right? But it was a very, like, you've done this for 45 years, 50 years. What do you think your body's going to do? What we do is we say, oh, we normalize it. We normalize it. We say, oh, that happens at 40. Your whole body kind of breaks down. You know, that happens at when you're this age. It's just like, that's just what happens. No, I know plenty of 40, 50, 60-year-olds with no back pain. You know, like, it doesn't have to be that way. Doesn't have to be that you have joints. Now, I posted it this morning on my Instagram, but food is not like medicine. Food is medicine, because think about this. You're taking, I'm pretty sure a couple of people here are taking a pill or 2 for your blood pressure, right? I don't take any pills, but I know that if I hadn't found this lifestyle, and if I hadn't focused on my mental and spiritual, physical, financial health, all the things, you know, if I hadn't focused on holistic health, then it would have been a very different life for me. Probably a lot of pills by now. So you take 1 pill for your blood pressure medication, but you eat 3 meals a day and 2 snacks a day, maybe, for your blood pressure, right? Because you're either fueling your blood pressure, or you're helping it, or you're harming it. So what do you think happens if you have that 1 pill going against the 5 other or 3 other meals and 2 snacks? Who's going to win? Who's going to win, right? The pill's not going to win. Just like turmeric alone is not going to win your fight against inflammation. It's just, it really is a series of decisions every single day. And then it really is, it wasn't easy to get here, to know exactly what to put in my food. It's just one choice every single day, one little thing every single day. If you know that you can make soup without, you know, any animal stuff that is really good that you can eat every day, that has, you know, lots of nutritional value in here, great. You want to add more vegetables? Add more vegetables, because that makes it better, right? The rice also, like, it has some nutritional value, the brown rice especially. The stew has, it's just all vegetables. It's all vegetables. Now, you're not going to need, like I said, second and thirds, because you're going to get full. It's not about filling your stomach, because, and I can tell this already, how many people after Thanksgiving dinner, right? You're like, I ate everything in seconds. And then next morning, or maybe after dinner, doesn't have to be Thanksgiving, but when you go out on the weekend and you're like so full, the next morning you are so hungry. And you eat more the night before than you normally eat. So what? How does that make sense? It's just that you maybe ate a lot of the things that you normally don't eat to fill your stomach, but you don't get nourishment at a cellular level. So what happens with our food after we eat it is that it gets broken down, right? It's absorbed into our system through our intestine, goes and it becomes nutrients that feeds our cells. So our stomach can digest cardboard, you guys. You can eat cardboard, honestly, and it's gonna pass through you, but it's not going to have any nutritional value. So it's gonna fill you up, but it's not gonna fuel you. So you're gonna be hungry, right? It's the same thing, because nothing is getting absorbed. It depends on how many nutrients are getting absorbed through your intestine for you to feel the way you feel, for you to feel either hungry or nourished, right? Hunger is just, think of hunger. Don't think of hunger as like, I need something I need to eat something, you know? Think of hunger as my body is asking me to nourish it. My cells, every cell in my body needs something. And it doesn't need sugar. It doesn't need gluten. It doesn't need soy. Most of us people of color doesn't need soy, doesn't need Corn doesn't eat all the things that I'm trying to think of all the things that say what it definitely doesn't eat milk, you know, animal products, it doesn't need animal products because there's a lot of not a lot of vegans, right? If our body needed it, then they would probably be dead. So, so it doesn't need it. Do you want it? Yes. And if you want it, that's a different story, right? You want it, that's fine. Or it's traditional in your family, that's okay. Like, I'm not here to judge, I'm really here to educate, you know? Like, I really love that anytime that you can make a dish a little more plant-based, and the next time a little more plant-based, and the next time a little more plant-based, you know, I'm at the point now where my Thanksgiving dinner could be all vegan. It could. I make everything and I could make it all vegan, right? But I didn't start like that. And don't expect yourself to start like that either. Don't, like, set goals, small goals. Like Meatless Monday is a really great goal, you know, or one no meat a day. Because we are very used to eating three meats every single day, like with each meal, right? Bacon for breakfast or sausage, right? You can have ham for, or fish or something, or tuna for lunch, and then usually chicken for dinner, or turkey, ground turkey, right? There's always it's always the same stuff. So just think how you can make things without those main ingredients. The main ingredients are like the animal protein, right? Other tip, if you really, really want to stop eating animal protein, start calling it animal protein. We tend to just say, hell, what's my protein today? Oh, it's the chicken. Start calling it animal protein, and your own brain's gonna be like, wow, that's animal protein, you know? So it's just like a little brain hack for you to like acknowledge that you're eating animal protein. And if you want to stop, or if you want to slow down, or if you just want to know where it comes from, you know? So same for your vegetables though. Always know where your vegetables come from. Know if they're GMO, not GMO, because again, those things don't fuel you, you know? Okay, any questions? I didn't look at the chat. Let's see.
There's one question about cooking the rice. And did you continue to cook the rice without the lid the entire time?
Oh, no, this is soup. I did not. No, normally you put a cover in a soup. I just got distracted because of the portion control thing, or the in moderation thing. But this is soup, and this soup is ready. But normally you would cover it to save the water. Yes, thank you for that. Here is our soup after my rant. Okay. There you go. This is a really nice soup. It's very cilantro. If you like cilantro, you're gonna love this soup. You're gonna love this soup. And then here's the stew. Oh, the stew needs a little bit more. So I'm gonna make it a little bit higher temp here. I'm actually gonna switch it over. I'm gonna switch the soup and the stew since you already saw the soup.
You're gonna have a really good lunch today.
I know, my kids are waiting too. They're like, oh, what are you making? That's the first question. What are you making? Because I tell them I have a class and they gotta, go do something. But there we go. And thanks so much for accommodating to Sunday today. I could not do it on a Friday. This Friday was, or next Friday was a little bit difficult, but this is what the stew's looking like right now. And then I'm gonna cover it because that way that water does not evaporate, because we do need this one. So the soup is just a little more water. The stew is gonna be a little bit more stewy. But if you do eat it with some rice, it will give you some more of that, it's texture. The rice is just texture. I'm actually going to put This soup you can also eat with a little bit of lime. That's what a lot of my when you have aguadito, you squeeze a little lime to give it a little acidity. But for the guiso, I call it a guiso because that's what guiso is in Spanish. Stew is guiso. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of extra cilantro here to sprinkle on top so it looks pretty. My kids are so used to eating green that when there's nothing green on the plate, my daughter is like, needs a little green, a leaf or something, anything, you know? So yeah, so that it does this is a fall. I mean, anything stew, it is like a fall dish because I would not cook or eat this in the summer, you guys. This is this is too hot or it would be too hot for the summer. But in the winter or the fall months or the winter, it does. Now, if you wanted to add your own flair in here, you can add your favorite, you know, whatever your favorite veggies, like a stew you could make with anything. Like the base of a stew is really just, for me, is the tomatoes, the onion, the tomatoes that I forgot, the onions, the garlic, and the cumin in the Latin American. That's, you know, that's also called in some countries a sofrito, where you kind of make that as the base of your cook, you know. So this also you can eat with you can eat with more potatoes if you add more potatoes. I didn't make rice today because of the potatoes, because you want to also balance, you know, not too many. If you're watching your carbs, because I know that's a big thing, you know, carbs is one of those things that make sure that you know where they're coming from more than anything. So a lot of people count carbs, but they count them the wrong way. They're counting carbs on things that they shouldn't be eating in the first place, you know. Okay, any other questions? Any other? Did I hope I didn't offend anybody today? I should come with a disclaimer. Like, okay, I'll get that plate here then for this too.
Oh my gosh, this all looks so amazing.
Yes, this is really one of my favorite soups for sure. And this freezes well too. The soup freezes well because I don't know how to cook for two people. Apparently, I only know how to cook for like 100. So last time I cooked soup, I had to bring out the big pot, and then there was a lot left over, and so we put it in some containers and we put it in the freezer. But next time that I'm in a rush and I don't have time to cook, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bring that out, you know. I'm gonna bring it out, I'm gonna eat it that same day and without, you know, 20 minutes. That's a true 20-minute meal. When you find something in the freezer that you cooked a long time ago and you defrost it, and 20 minutes later you're eating this very complicated dish that took only 20 minutes. Okay, so there we go. Oh, that's good. There, the magic of the smoke.
Someone asked if the tomatoes were all you needed for the water to come up, but you added a little water too, didn't you?
I did add a little water, but the tomatoes were for it to not burn because I was like, why is this kind of burning a little bit? So because there was no moisture in there. So if that happens to you ever, where something is burning and you don't know, just add a little water so it doesn't, because I didn't want the garlic and the onions to burn. Because then that once that burns, that flavor is there the whole time. There's no way to get rid of it, right? So I just added a little water. I added tomatoes, and then yes, I did add a cup of water after. You can add some veggie stock in here if you want, you know. And again, if you're a meat eater, you can add like little piece. I guess the point of this, I guess, is if you, instead of you eating like a whole piece of like steak, right, you could buy a very much smaller, half of what you normally do, and then just cut it up into little chunks and throw it in here. So you get that, you know, that's the way that we know stews anyway, with little pieces or chunks of meat. Remember, you don't have to have like a huge serving of that. And if you want to omit it for now, this should be, now this has the carrots, the potatoes. It's another P word and I couldn't think of it. And now I can't find my, oh, here it is. Let's use this one. So here we go. This could use a little more evaporating too, but we'll We'll worry about that later. I need some more mushrooms in here. Okay, there we go. And then you just kind of, like I said, if you want to eat it with some rice, that would be good. That's the way that I would eat it at home. I'm gonna put that here, and then I'm gonna lower the camera a little bit so you can see. Not happening. Nope. Yes, there we go. Okay, so now you can, you have your choice of, with very similar ingredients. So we have our soup. It's called aguadito. Again, it's called aguadito. And then you have your stew that you can eat with. That smells good, you guys.
It looks
I know
amazing.
it's a little messy today. It was a little messy in the kitchen today, but I can tell you it smells really good. So I go by the smell. Let's go by the smell.
Thank you so much, Chef Carmen. Somebody asked about the type of mushrooms that you use, and they asked if button mushrooms would suffice for this.
Yes, so button mushrooms are great for this stew. There's a few different mushrooms that I use, like enoki mushrooms I would use for sushi, but not for this. But this particular one I use the button ones. You can do the button white or you could do the cremini. So these are good, and I like these because they're meaty. Like good minced meat. Oh, that spice is good. That spice is good.
Can't wait to make it on my own. Thank you so much again, Chef Carmen. And thank you for providing as much nutritional information that you always provide with every meal that you prepare for us. It's very helpful to learn more about the food, where it's coming from, and how it helps our bodies, especially whenever you give your lesson on milk. I know you didn't really give it this time, but I always enjoy listening to your lesson on milk as well. But yes, thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any last words, do you have anything else that you wanted to share with us, Chef Carmen, today?
No, don't even get me started on milk.
Okay, well, thank you guys.
Today we talked about, what did we talk about today? The I got on a roll, the moderation one. So
yeah.
Yeah, if you come to my classes, and I know some of you, thank you so much for always logging on to the classes, that I give. It's just like, I'm going to say something that I feel like I'm a bridge for people, to just like, there's things that I know that I figure out through my journey that there's people that don't know, and my journey is just to like help people get across that bridge. Now, like the side of the bridge is not like vegan, it's just to like get a little bit healthier, a holistic health there. So yeah, but yes, anything that I can say that maybe makes you think a little bit or rethink a little bit about something that you were so gung-ho about. Remember that a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking over and over and over and over until it becomes true to you. So if you think that you can't have a plant-based life, that's because you're telling yourself that. Or if you think you can't get rid of your, blood pressure medication, let's try it with plants. Seriously, food is medicine. So thank you so much again, Adia.
Thank you for coming. And people were asking about your Instagram account, and I commented in the chat. Her Instagram is @healthycongusto, and I'll also commented on Facebook as well. But thank you guys for coming, and I wanted to share a flyer with you guys before we close out. We have an event coming up with our Sisters in Control program called Grown and Sexy, and it's a series where they're talking about having healthy conversations about sex and also having healthy sex. So the next conversation will be on November 19th, and feel free to join. But thank you guys for coming.